That's
the
that brings
Time
all the
Machine.
yes.
What other wells did I read?
Food of the
Uh,
Gods. You must have read Food of the Gods.
Maybe that one doesn't
Oh,
actually
that's
sound that
amazing.
familiar.
They did a few films back in the 70s, and they tried. I would love to see them try to do it because the effects would be, they have the ability to do the effects. But Food of the Gods is one of the most amazing H.G. Wells story where just, they don't explain anything.
I've never
All,
even heard of that story. That's
yeah,
awesome. I'm
it's
gonna
like,
check that out.
yes, back
You
in the
check it
day,
out.
Yeah.
some weird stuff comes up out of the ground and it starts making animals grow big. That's it. And the creatures, when they get bigger, they get more hungrier. So,
Yeah.
All right.
That's kind of I guess.
It's all feeding back into kaiju.
And when you think about it, that might have been the impetus for those stories about like the giant atomic ants and other critters that
them.
like, yeah.
Oh, well, that's the thing. You're talking about when America had their own kaiju movies. Because again, there's the Eastern, which is Godzilla and Gamera and all that colorful stuff. But in the 50s, America was putting out stuff like, I mean, I even consider the Colossal Man a kaiju. I don't know, you ever heard of that one? The Colossal
I don't know Colossal Man. I know 50-Foot Woman though.
Colossal Man's amazing. When the guy gets bombarded, like gets hit with stuff, and he starts growing big, and then eventually they did two films. They did two films where he gets bigger and bigger, and then he died. They think he dies. In the second film, he comes back. He's all like, his face is all scarred up, and he's eating stuff. And they never really, they kind of hint that possibly he's eating humans because his hunger are bigger now. But they don't really, back then. So you got them. You got the giant mantis, I think.
I remember that, the stills from that.
There's
That's right.
one of my favorite scenes from Black Sad. I don't know if the comic.
Yep.
John Blacksad's hanging out in his car at a drive-in, and he's watching a monster movie. And it's funny since it's all animals.
Yeah.
Yep.
They actually have big giant ants.
Yeah.
So like there's kind of still they kind of lean into the idea that in a world of animals, insects are still insects.
They're all anthropomorphic.
But the scientist is an anteater.
Yep.
The general's the lion, and then you've got the American eagle as the guy acting as the president. I love that scene.
Isn't that the nature of like if you look at the Western kaiju's, King Kong, a gorilla, them ants, you look at giant tarantula, everything's like creatures that are real world.
Old black and white films.
You're talking about real world. You're talking about real world creatures. Whereas in Japan, their imagination went further beyond that. They were like, okay, we're going to have creatures like King Ghidorah with
three-headed dragons. I was just going to say three-headed dragons.
They went far out, and they have these personalities and all these cosmic powers. We were just dealing with ordinary creatures just becoming giants. And
I just recently, I think it was over the course of quarantine, I found out about the genesis of some of like the early monster manual monsters from D&D.
Yeah.
Like rust monsters, owl bears, they all came from little packs of kaiju toys.
Okay.
Just like the cheap little plastic kaiju toys you get like, a bag of 50. Some of the original guys working on D&D had these, and I guess since they were using them as the miniatures in their games, like early games, they just wrote them into monsters. So this thing looks kind of like an owl and a bear. Cool, owl bear.
But that's weird. That's the strength of Japan in that sense. Like, the difference between Japan and America. Like I feel that here in America, I think we do pretty good, solid like storytelling, where we pull the stories together, the creatures, and you get all this wonderful stuff. But sometimes we lack in the sense of just pushing that imagination. Like we'll have a tarantula, but we won't have a giant tarantula that, is shooting webbing out and has wings and stuff. Japan, on the other hand, would be like, yeah, we're gonna have a giant spider, and this giant spider is gonna be jumping around, and it can shoot a web out, and it's gonna fight this giant reptile creature that can shoot atomic fire out. And, they go further beyond there. Not saying that the storytelling isn't bad. I love the storytelling as well. But I just always felt that American kaijus were much more grounded in more reality, in the sense of just, it's just a giant creature, and they're hungry, and they're gonna eat you. Like in Food of the Gods, the major creatures that were the bad guys were rats. They were these giant cross-sized rats. that were eating. They just because they got big, they got so hungry, they would just go around and just eat everything. So yeah,
that's freaking awesome, man. I really like that kind of insight into like the way that we write our monsters versus the Japanese, who kind of just like blow all the hatches off and just say, "Hey, go wild. Let's make something crazy." Just out there.
On the heels of that question, I had another question. Do you have a favorite movie monster? And once again, you could give me a couple.
We're getting feedback.
Kim opened her phone to check the broadcast. No, doesn't know how to turn down her volume.
It's been on. It just hasn't been playing, and now my volume won't go down.
There you go.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Frequency Girl's having a couple of technical difficulties.
In and out.
Right? So, do you have a favorite movie monster? Can you name one or three or something?
I got a few.
Who is it?
The top of the list is Gamera, the flying turtle.
Yeah, man. That's my guy.
That's me right there. Gamera is I am Gamera. The
rocket turtle, baby.
Kaiju, a turtle. And then I would probably say one, and I always felt that he was amazing, was Daimajin.
I don't know that.
The statue that comes to life, he goes like this with his face. Like it's like first he's happy, and then all of a sudden he gets all angry and stuff. Oh god,
I remember it, but I don't remember the film.
Oh, you gotta see. Daimajin is like he's a god. He's a statue god, and it's like feudal Japan. And what happens is, I forgot what the first movie is, but a girl, like some emperor comes in and he's doing harm to the villagers. So this young girl goes to the waterfall or something. That might be one of the movies, and she sacrifices herself to him. And when she sacrifices herself, his the peaceful statue, he's got this serene, beautiful face like Buddha, but all of a sudden he's like, oh no. He goes like this with his hands, like he steps out, he goes like this with his hands, and his face turns angry. And he just looks like an angry god, and he just starts killing the Emperor's men. And I mean, he's probably the size of maybe an X-Men Sentinel, right? But still, he's one of the most amazing creatures. I wish Toho would go ahead and make him. Man, so Gamera, Daimajin, and oh man, God, there's so many. Darn it!
I'm glad you said Gamera because
Rocket Turtle. What'd you say? What'd you say? Gamera? What'd you say? Gamera?
I say Gamera. It's Gamera, right?
Oh, I love it. See, that's.
I used to say King Ghidorah, and it's Ghidorah. Yeah,
like
but that's the thing,
man. I love it.
When you're growing up with it, and you don't as a kid, and you don't have access to the movies.
Yeah.
You say it your own way, man. I remember I was in college, and I was reading some philosophy books and literature books, and I'd never heard the names of the authors pronounced, so I called Jean-Paul Sartre Jean-Paul Sartre, and so I'm just bad with pronunciation in general.
Let's be honest, if you're an X-Men fan, you either say Magneto or Magneto.
Yeah, that's true.
Magneto.
I go, hey, I say Magneto too. I say Magneto too. Anyone who says Magneto, I don't know what's wrong with them.
I've heard it said before. And I just go, oh, cool, man, whatever.
That's like in Warhammer 40K. There's las cannons, but some people call them laser cannons or laser guns.
Oh,
yeah. I will fight people.
Oh man,
it's a tomato though, right? We're talking about sci-fi. So where are you from, and where'd you grow up?
Oh, I'm straight out Boston boy, man.
Yeah,
nice.
Boston,
but you don't have the Boston accent,
huh?
But you don't have the Boston accent.
It comes out when I'm angry. Like when you,
so if you do this, you turn into a Bostonian.
Yeah, I understand.
Most Bostonians, when you get them worked up, that's when it starts. You start hearing it. It start coming out like my car. You start dropping it. What'd you say, Mo? You start getting all.
We had to ask him to talk about car keys.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I have
parked the car on the lot.
I have the same thing with my Long Island accent.
Oh yeah, when she gets drunk, tired, or angry.
Yeah, usually angry, it'll come out.
Yeah, so we're all East Coast because Frequency Girl's Long Island.
I'm New York.
He's Manhattan.
Connecticut.
I'm Hartford. And you're Boston.
There you go.
So we're all right up in the East Coast here.
Are you still in Boston now?
No, I haven't been in Boston since 2000. I'm now.
Yeah, you're on the other side of the country, right?
I'm in Rhode Island.
Oh, Rhode Island. I thought you were. So this
is the other side of the country.
I mean, it's a tiny state. So this is just like an earlier thing, so that we could meet with you earlier. Okay, I was.
Well, you know what it is. The thing about it is, I've gone on other shows and stuff, and I tell the story about how I well, originally I lived in Boston and I worked and I did advertising and stuff like that. And then gradually in 2000, I left Boston and moved to New Bedford. And in New Bedford, Mass, I started building a life. I got married. I bought a house and stuff. And then things just didn't go that well. So then, I got divorced, lost the house. And then I ended up meeting my wife now, my new wife. And she lived here in Rhode Island. And I made the journey. And I said, look, you know what? I have to make changes. I said, I really got to start making changes in my life. And also my health was horrible. I was weighing 400 pounds at one point. I was getting deathly sick. And I just had my whole life just was going in such a bad way. And I said, you know what? As soon as I get here and I got this new relationship, I got to make changes. And so that's what I did. And I said, one of those changes was my health. I had to get myself, she did too. She got her health together. And I said, one of the things that I suffered from was I didn't know how to be mindful of my time. That meant getting ample rest, take care of myself. I mean, I've been working 30 years as a commercial illustrator. I worked in advertising. I was like on call all the time. I mean, literally, a gig comes up, I'm like, running, doing numerous jobs and whatever, and I never rest. I never took care of myself. I used to party hard, traveled a lot. I just did a lot of stuff. And as I got older, I was like, I want to be around. I had a friend of mine who passed away at his table, at his drawing table. Goodness. His wife found him.
Man. But I mean, like, go out doing something you love.
That's the greatest. That's my nightmare. I was like, I don't want to be like that. And I don't want people to be writing posts about me saying, oh, man, he's such a great artist. And it's a shame that he's gone. And so I started changing. And one of those big changes was my wife said, look, Frank, you got to take a day off. So I don't work on Sunday. That was a big thing. I don't care what it is. I don't work on Sunday. I tell people about that. And another thing is that I have to get sleep. So that means that I work a certain amount of time. And then regardless of what, usually I'm in bed by 6 and I'm up by 2:30 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
Regimen, man. Discipline.
Yeah. Dude, I honestly, I feel all of that so much. I mean, I'm 35, so I'm still pretty young.
Oh, youngster. I'm 51.
But
you don't look 51.
Immortality.
I'm diabetic. I got all kinds of things that working against me, and I did not treat myself well in my 20s.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And when I hit 30, I realized I had to make some changes in my life because if I don't, I'm not going to see 40. Oh. And, so...
I can tell you war stories. I loved New York back in the day. I used to hang up there all the time. Party hard, man. Hard.
Like Andrew W.K.
Yeah, party hard. I loved it.
Party hard. Yeah.
But with that said, I'm glad I made it because a lot of other people I know didn't make it.
Yeah. And you get to a point where you realize that if you don't make these changes and you start, letting that go to every other part of your life, the way that you work, the way that you relax, you gotta make a regimen of it, and by doing that, I feel like you're probably more productive in terms of the creativity output. Everything else changes. It's
right now. Right now, when I post and I say art flow, I am on point with my art. My art has never flowed more freely. Like my creativity is all over the place. I'm actually doing stuff that I did when I started off early in my 20s, when I just would sit there and just draw like detail. When I got into business, I'm not, when I worked in advertising and there's other gigs, animation and stuff like that. It helped me. It was like one of those things where I'm a contractor and stuff like that. I did the job, but something was missing. I was getting more like the corporate sense where just like, I'm just going to draw and whatever. And I was losing that side of myself where I just want to create artwork and make really good pieces where I can look at and people be like, man, I like that work. Instead of the fact of, this is going to help sell a product. You know what I mean?
Do you ever go on Art and Stuff, the show?
Nah.
Let me reach out to them. They're from Boston too. They're like they're like local Bostonians and they like talking about art and stuff. And I think just it'd just be cool for you to go on there and I could see all three of you there and like heckle you a little bit from the chat and it would be fun. They're good dudes. They're a lot of fun. So yeah, I'll reach out to them and see if we can get you on their show. So how did you get into comic books?
Oh, I've been in comic books for a very long time. I mean, when I went to art school when I first graduated in '91 from art school, I was I self-published my own comic book. It was called Peace, and then after that, just because trying to put out a comic book and then making money, I was like, I got to make money. So then I sort of started getting more into trying to make money and surviving. So, but over the years, I bounced in and out of comic books. I mean, I any chance I would get any free downtime, I would jump on various projects. So I got a ton of work in anthologies and all kind of different stuff. So, you know, I off and on I've been in the comic field. Comics just didn't pay any money. That was it. Period. They just didn't pay any money. And you know, when you're looking at like ad agencies and stuff like that, yo, what's up? I'm doing a sketch cover piece for them.
Oh, nice.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, actually, let me see. I was showing them a little bit of it right now, but it's for Legends of Lodge. We're doing some more stuff for them.
Oh yeah. I was watching you do this on Twitter. Yeah, I watched you set some of the video to that on Twitter. That's great stuff right there.
Yeah. So yeah,
as a friend of ours would say, that's good stuff.
So what? You went to art school. What was your major there?
That's the school I went to. It's gone now, but it was called Butera School of Art. It was located on Beacon Street, and it was like a school that focused on commercial illustration, and then the other side was sign painting. It was like sign painting. And what happened was, I remember when I first went in, they looked at me and they said, "Hey, we want you to understand." And I mean, they were serious. They said, "We teach people who want to make money. If you want to be an artist who just wants people, you want your stuff hanging up in his gallery or whatever, then we're not the school for you. We teach you to be a contractor. We teach you how to pitch yourself, how to sell your skills, how to do yourself as a brand so that you can get paid." And I was like,
artsmanship.
And what's funny about it was I had a chance to go to the Cubic School, and I turned it down.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, I went to the Harvard Art School, and I was really grateful because they actually had some classes that were dedicated to like professional practices in art making, which were some of like the best classes that I took there. You know, but it's funny because I feel like in art school, there's a weird divide between the more kind of conceptual art classes and the more illustrator-based art classes. And I see merit in both, but like now that I'm out of it, like I wish I had been in more of the like hardcore illustration side of things.
Yeah.
Because there's just a lot of practical skill that you gain there.
Well, that was the whole thing. Like my teachers focused on the fact they understood the fact that there was a sense of romanticizing art or being an artist. Yeah. That starving artist, the romanticizing of being a starving artist. Like, oh man, I'm gonna cut my ear off.
It's a myth.
That shit's a lie.
It's a myth.
It is a straight up lie. Thankfully I have a mentor that one of my art teachers, great guy named Rick Harden. He actually kind of he basically told me, he's like, hey, the starving artist is a lie. You got to figure out how to put food on your plate, how to pay your bills. If you don't do those things, you're not going to be creative.
That's right.
Because all you're going to be thinking about is, fuck, how do I get food on my plate? How do I pay my bills? And you're not thinking about
making art.
How do I make this beautiful? How do I make this?
How painful it is? It was painful over the years when I would look at and see various artists talking, and how they would be in such conflict with business.
Yeah.
Now, we're Americans. We live in a capitalistic society to make money and stuff like that. And they would be in such conflict. Like, they would be like, in 1 minute, oh, the mean corporations, the mean businesses and whatever, yet you're at a con trying to sell stuff. You know what I mean? If you take a moment and soak that in, you're part of that. And it's okay. Yeah. It's okay to make money off your artwork. Anybody out there, artists, it's okay to make money off your artwork. And you should get paid for what you're worth. You put the time in, you should get paid for it. And guess what? If that person right there doesn't want to pay you for it or hire you, then guess what? There's a million other people out there. My teachers were always they would always constantly talk about one door. They said, well, 2 doors closed, 5 doors open. You just got to be there when those doors open. And that was always my belief. And I hustled, and I hustled hard. And I got so many rejections. I had doors slammed in my face. People saying, oh, you suck. And then I never gave up. I learned how to write nice letters to people. I would communicate with people. Don't become such a annoying pest. But you say, hey, how you doing? I'm still here on the left side of the field. Just in case, if you need an artist for your gig, I'm here. I'm available. And then as soon as that happened, when my first gig came in, people started talking about me. And that's when it kept going. It didn't stop.
That's awesome.
But you got to hustle hard, though. You got to want it.
So, what books out there right now are you interested in? Are there any books on the stands that inspire you?
Or actually, even open it that further. Yes. Are there any current comics you're reading? But what other current illustrators are you looking at? What's your diet of creativity like?
To keep you going and influence your stuff and give you more perspective.
I'm getting pumped up. I finished reading Ultra Mega.
Dude, I came late to the game on that. Thankfully, our local comic shop managed to get some back issues ordered. Yep. So I'm getting 1, 2, and 3 this coming week. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I can't think of the artist's name, but
James Herron.
Say it again.
James Herron.
Yeah, that's right, James Herron. And I saw a posting. And I said, I'll check it out. And I ended up getting the book, and I was blown away. So I would say him. Another person I love. I'm telling anybody out there who reads Kaiju stuff, you have to get Kaiju Max by Xander Cannon.
I'm writing that down.
Frequency Girl's got it.
Oh,
I remember.
She's already getting on Amazon ordering it.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, and I was like, I don't know. I saw the artwork, and I said, I don't know. And then I just said, I got to represent. This is a Kaiju book and stuff. Let me just check it out. And I got pulled in. And he has a couple of volumes. I think it comes out through Omni Press. So he would be one. I just got a copy of Territory from the guys who just had the Kickstarter thing. I can't think of their names, but those guys. So I can't wait to check that one out. Oh man, I've been finding myself getting a lot of back issue volumes of stuff. So I just got the volume 1 and 2 of the Invaders. I'm reading Werewolf by Night. I mean, that's me. I'm old school.
So Werewolf by Night is a little bit more contemporary. It is on the shelves.
Let me throw 2 artist names at you, that I think you might like. James Stocco.
Yes, I remember. Yep.
He's done because I will, but he did a run of Godzilla in Hell. I want to say
that was really good.
That was just.
I mean, his monsters in general. Grab Grunt and show him the cover, man.
Orkstein is great. I think that's where I found him first. That book is just wild madness. And recently he's putting out Orphan and the Five Beasts, which I think 2 issues are out of so far. It's meets like
some of that movie.
We're cutting out.
Sorry,
is absolutely ridiculous.
Are we back?
But you still haven't said it.
Yeah,
say
it. Stop. I'm talking. But yeah, the Orphan and Five Beasts by James Stocco is great. Mm-hmm. And then the other artist is Daniel Warren Johnson, which
there it is, people. That is our first full tally, and you probably can't see it, but that's 5 references. We're gonna do a giveaway.
He did Murder Falcon.
Yes, I have Murder Falcon.
Dude, and currently he's doing Beta Ray Bill, and I'm drinking that up.
The thing is that I remember certain names. I don't remember certain names. I remember images of certain things.
Yep.
It's always tough. It's like, but yeah, I do have Murder Falcon and love it.
Right.
So let's say hi to the chat real quick, so that we don't ignore anybody. We got D. Hausner up in here. We got Amanda B, faithful companion of the channel, and we got GJ Martinez from earlier.
Yeah,
and he is super excited to have you here, as well as the preeminent Mo Biggs. Welcome to the chat, buddy. Glad to have you. So,
all right.
What is it about the comic book medium? Oh yeah, man! Kaijus and Cowboys, let the art flow. Yeah, you're great on Twitter, man. You're so positive and encouraging us to just let the art flow. Get in the art. It's wonderful.
I want to see more people talking about it. I want people to see people excited. Come on, man! This is our time as Kaiju fans. This is our time. I don't understand if people are growling. I'm like, dude, we just got Godzilla versus Kong is making $1 billion. Yeah. Let's all jump on.
And it wasn't even good.
But regardless of what, it's like I look at it and I'm like, as long as people are talking about Godzilla and Kong, that affects us.
Yep.
Yeah, the whole MonsterVerse is just a great revival of interest in that medium.
When I hear fans downing. They go, well, I'm like, dude, you don't understand. Do you not want Hollywood to not be doing these? Because guess what? I remember I grew up in the 70s and 80s when they laughed at Godzilla. They thought they were like, we'll never do this stuff. So the thing is, we have this moment. We got Pacific Rim. I don't care. If you don't like it, fine, you don't like it. Do your comic book then. Then you do something that you like. Jump on it. Let's all get a piece of that pie. I'm like happy. I'm like, make more stuff so that then our stuff becomes relevant. So we can get eyes on our stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got, like you said, the moment you got to seize it and own it and lose yourself in the.
Helps us. It helps us. Don't shoot us. You're wearing a Voltron shirt. I've worked
man.
IPs. I want Voltron. I want people to talk about Voltron because then if we decide to do a giant robot, then maybe they'll look over and go, oh, look over on the left side of the field over there. You see that? There you go.
Honestly, the old one didn't really hold up. I'm really glad they did the Netflix one because that one was enjoyable. I didn't get to the later seasons, but like early on, man, I was digging that show.
Yeah.
So what is it about the comic book medium that appeals to you? You got some serious affection for monster cinema, and I'm digging on that because like that's a classic art form that we can all really appreciate. But what is it about storytelling through sequential art that appeals to you?
Well, the simple basic thing, control. It allows us to give our own vision. I've worked in production when I did storyboards and stuff, and people don't understand. When you see fans, they look at films. Like I'm one of those people that are sitting, when I was going to theaters, I would sit and look at the credits, and I would smile because I see all these wonderful artisans that are working. All the people that took to make this hour-long production or whatever to come on the screen so people can enjoy it. There's a lot of people that are out there working behind the scenes and stuff. So think about that. And you take comic books. And comic books is just a skimmed down version of that without all the chefs in the kitchen. Because sometimes we got to understand now on the other side of production, it's not just the director and the producers. You got the other heads too, the big money people. And what can you say if somebody comes in and goes, I don't know, maybe we need to put a polar bear in there, or something that person may have control and power. So guess what? A polar bear comes into the scene. So the thing is that with comic books, now we're on a much more skimmed down level. Your production team can be a little bit more smaller, more controlled. You know that what you're putting out there, people can see and then they can take in. There's no need.
Hey, Publishing Pete, what's up? Glad to have you on the channel.
Oh, this guy, I've gone.
Yeah,
back.
Man, Alternate Comics, good stuff.
Yeah, we go back.
So you went to school for art and design, like you said earlier. How much did you learn in school? Like you said, they sort of prepared you for marketing your art and going out into the world and actually being a commercial artist. And how much did that help you in your career so far?
Well, the thing about it is back when I was in high school, and you're talking like I graduated in '88. So my high school years, Boston had they had a ton of programs for art. Like my teachers, I was surrounded by teachers who saw potential in me. Like because originally I had crazy ideas. I was like, I wanted to be in the Air Force. I wanted to be a robotic engineer. I was saying all this crazy stuff, but I sucked in math. But I was great. I had great grades and everything else. So my teachers looked at me and they said, hey, you can draw a lot. And they said, okay, why don't we start putting you in programs? So they put me in like a Saturday morning program. So this was even before art school. I was going to Saturday morning programs to mass art, like back when I was in, like my junior, senior year. They was just like they were almost preparing me. They were like, okay, now then they started putting me into a program that focused more on art. And then once that got going, then they were like, okay, I ended up getting a scholarship and they said, okay, what school you want to go to? And then Joe Kubert reached out and I was like, I don't know. It was comic books and it was in Jersey. And I was like, I don't want to leave Boston. So then another school, then that's when other schools, like a architectural school contacted me. I went there and I was like, I'm not an architect. I just straight out, I was like, I'm not an architect. And then Butera School of Art came and that's when they were just like, they sat down, sat in the room. I had some drawings, some still lifes. And then they said, all right, we want you to understand that you want to make money, right? And I said, yeah, you want to be a commercial, contractor. And so I said, yeah. I said, okay, commercial illustration. And they said, well, we're going to give you the skills. Not even the skills. Like I already had the skills. Let me rephrase that. I had the skills. They were going to help me to cultivate those skills to take it to the next level, which meant that I can't be shy, and you can't be shy. You got to get out there and feel confident about your work, not arrogant. Let me rephrase.
Overcome your fear. Yeah.
But have a confidence.
So basically, they showed you how to actually apply that in the marketplace as a working artist.
Every time I see an artist and online, man, post their stuff, and then they post their stuff, and then they start talking bad about their own stuff. I cringe. That is like the ultimate no. You never, ever, ever talk about your stuff. No, don't do that. Do not. Maybe in your head, maybe you look at it and go, oh man, I could have get better or something. But keep it in your head. But you never ever, because what that's showing somebody is that you're looking down on your work. So why would they spend money to buy it?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
A car sale. If you went to a car dealership and somebody was like, I don't know, dude, those brakes are kind of shoddy. You know, if they start talking all this negative stuff, why would you buy that car?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm out of here, man. Nah, man. So pretty much that was.
How did you get into sequentials then? Because it sounds like the art school really prepared you for design and marketing.
No, not design. No, commercial illustrated, storyboard.
Oh, commercial illustration and marketing.
Commercial illustration.
And doing like storyboard and stuff too, right?
I'm not. I wouldn't consider myself a graphic designer. I don't. I tell people that immediately. Like people go, "Oh, you can do."
Yeah, you're an illustrator, not a designer. There's like the difference between graphics and art. Yeah.
The art industry is like the ocean. So, and I tell people, the art industry is like the ocean. I'm a commercial illustrator on my boat. And what happens is my boat allows me to travel throughout the art industry. So if I need to do toy concept art, I can do toy concept art. I can do storyboards. I can do keyframes. I can do layouts. I can do all the stuff that deals with drawing an image. If you need a graphic artist, there are people that specialize in typography, or they just know the structure of line work and stuff, of lettering. That's a whole nother avenue of the art industry. So it's like when my teachers taught me to think in that term of art industry as a massive ocean. You're going to be in your little boat, rowing in your boat, and you want to be able to navigate through those channels.
So whatever. Here's a question for you. You came up before the like real rise and dominance of digital artwork. Yes. That's got to give you some really interesting perspective on things.
Oh, the hustle. Well, I remember my graduating year, the first Mac was brought in. I remember leaving the class, and I said, what the hell is that? And they were like, yeah, this is the future. And I just, okay. And I walked out, and the future came. And unfortunately, the thing about the future is that I think some things got lost. For me, I was taught how to be much more like, you're going up and approaching people, talking to people, knocking on doors, carrying a big portfolio around, getting to connect with people, that kind of stuff. I think what happened with the computers is that the computers took away a lot of that. Unfortunately, it's a good thing. It's the pros and cons. The pros is that right now we're communicating through technology, which is beautiful. People are seeing me, whatever, we're connecting and stuff like that. The downside of that is that human connection has been severed in a certain degree, where people can't really be there, talk to somebody, shake their hand, like that whole thing you shake. See, I'm old school, where it's like, how you doing? Nice firm handshake. You look the person in the face and go, all right, man, we got this, right? Where that's what I grew up on. So I'm old school in that sense, just like Pete.
Yeah, so because like, it's, I completely agree with you. I think the benefit to having, the internet and the way that just, graphic art is shared, we get to see things from all around the world. You see illustrators working in, from every continent, sharing on platforms that really enrich everybody, right? But at the same time, that empathy is lost. Yeah, you don't get to meet.
Sincerity doesn't carry very well.
It doesn't. It doesn't at all.
Here's another hard truth. Yeah, and a lot of people. And hey, I'm being real with you. I had a friend contact me once, and he said, Frank, and he's an artist. He said, man, I'm getting all these likes, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, that's cool. And he said, but nobody's buying my stuff. And I said, well, there you go. There's your truth. And he said, well, what does that mean? I said, the truth is, the reality is that there are people out there that just like stuff, that like it. It doesn't equal buying, right. And that's the thing. Like, it takes us something extra to bring people over. Either you've already built up your name. We'll say comic books. If you're a comic book artist, you've already been in the scene, you built up your fan base, then you're guaranteed. There's going to be people out there that's going to buy your stuff because there's history, there's a whatever, and they're going to be like, I'm going to throw the money at you. Now, for an up-and-coming artist, you're going to have to work a lot harder, very, very hard. And that's going to be more than just putting up a piece of art. that people either got to have some kind of connection with you, even though they can't physically be there, but they got to build some kind of connection with you and whatever. That's going to be the hard work that you're going to go through.
So now in this kind of like more modern digital age of artwork, are you still working like 100% in kind of the old styles? Or are you using any kind of programs like Illustrator or Photoshop to help out with like drafting at all?
I use Photoshop only for my coloring and just minimal tweaks and stuff. Any techniques that I learned from advertising, like just using it for minimal stuff. I'm still a traditionalist, hand to paper, and pencil. The reason why I got in a conversation with some digital guys, and I said, look, first off, and I always started off like that because look, I'm old school. When I grew up on the streets, we always try to, give people respect. And you say, hey, this is where I'm coming from, man. So I was like, hey, look, I don't hate on digital. I think digital has a place. My thing as an old schooler is that I just don't understand the rationale of digital. They're trying to do this whole NFT thing or whatever. But all I know is that as an artist, many artists make their secondary finances from selling their original artwork. If I work a comic book that people like and love, and I have the artwork, that's a secondary income. But if you're doing it digitally, then you got nothing to sell. You got what, files? What, are you gonna send a copy to somebody? I suppose you could get somebody to ink it. You can ink a copy, but is that really,
as really inking it? Yeah, because the lines are then reprinted on ink anyway. So you gotta put that stuff in the mail.
Look I'll show you right now. There's nothing that beats something like this. This is the variant cover, by the way. There's nothing that beats that. If somebody if somebody wants to own this, they own it. They pay the price for it. They own it. They have the bragging rights. I'm a collector. So when I understand the mindset of a collector wants to have bragging rights. They want to be able to own something that's like with a coffee stain on it. Where they be drinking coffee and stuff. That's the whole thing. How do you get that with digital? How do you get that with digital?
Yeah.
That's why your covers and your sketch cards are so fantastic because they are works of physical media.
Yeah.
And they're just spectacular to have, to frame, art that you can put on display, art that has significant emotional resonance to it because of the investment that you've put in, like that Godzilla cover that you did.
Oh, that is
I think it was for IDW. That is insanity, man.
That was crazy.
That cover is crazy. I think we even have it in like the PowerPoint. If you could cue that up, because I think that's like
you have one of my moments. Because again,
yeah, man, that's it right there. That's what I'm talking about. The Godzilla IDW cover.
I've always been honest with people. I'm not a gamer, but I've worked in games. I've done illustrations for a couple of what was it? There was a couple of Fantasy Flight games I remember I did some stuff for. I did one for some dragon stuff. But I used to do really super detailed stuff for video.
Go big on it and try to
game companies, RPG.
Go in on Godzilla.
I get my itch.
This line work, brah.
Dude.
You know what I mean? This is like Stoko level detail. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have the faded out backgrounds the way Stoko does, but like just the sheer attention to detail and the application of pencil and pen to paper. Yep. It's so fantastic. Yeah. Like just the sheer intricacy and detail of it all. That's the stuff that really gets me.
And the funny part about it, that's why I always talk about the art flow. You know what's funny about the art flow is that when I first started, all I was thinking about was Shin Godzilla. I just had this idea in my head. I was like, I should just try my hand at Shin Godzilla. And it started off as simple as that, and then it grew into this. That's how I had a person ask me, he said, well, how do you begin? And I said, well, if a client tells me, like they say, Frank, like I'm working on that sketch cover, and he pretty much said, hey, Frank, I like the log. Can you have the log in Megatron? You think that's too weird? I said, no, that's great. I love that. So that gave me a starting off point. But usually when I'm coming up with stuff, I'll just have one thought, one little idea for something. Then I just go, okay, let me just flow with it. And I don't even bother. I'm looking for the journey to see where it takes me.
Yep. So I just want to shout out real quick, both Dojo Kun and Pop Culture Avenger have joined us. All right. Thanks for showing up, guys. Glad to have you here. And K Manifesto. We got both Dojo Kun and K Manifesto in the house. Don't forget to check out the K Manifesto show with Dojo Kun Comics. Frequency Girl, find that link and drop it like it's hot. So
take me out of full screen.
Oh, I got to take you out of full screen, right? Sorry about that.
That's it.
Oh my God, that beats. I
can't
believe
You've been removed.
So I can't believe you do that. Do you guys ever experience that when you look at some old art and you go, did I draw that?
Yeah, man. I mean, like, I love your stuff. I got your Robotech cover. You know, the one that you put up at the auction. Yeah, that's mine, man. Like, I love it. I love the old stuff, the intricate hand-drawn stuff, the stuff that looks like it's been done with love and care. Don't get me wrong. Digital is exciting because of all the things you can do with it, the different technological applications. But like you were saying, there's soul in the physical medium.
Yeah.
Oh, that Robotech cover again. That was something where I got the Robotech, and I got that a while ago, and I just was like,
yep,
I'm gonna try to draw a Valkyrie.
And
that's how I started. And then for me, the thing about me, and it goes right back to what you were talking about, sequential art. When I draw, I try to think of stories. So it's like when I think of Frank Frazetta. Like if you look at a Frank Frazetta piece, it's not just one character hovering in just empty space. There's a story. Like you sit there and you start wanting to go, what is this guy? Like you see the guy on a throne or something. You go, this guy's going through something. Did this guy just finish the battle, or did this guy is about to start the battle? Is he contemplating not to fight? You know, and for me, I'm always thinking of like what the story's going to be. I don't like static artwork. When I did advertising work, I drew static pieces. They go, Frank, draw a Ford truck, whatever the brand.
Yeah, but these are alive and moving. Yeah.
But I want to have a story. I want people to look at it and go, oh, there's a story here with this. So that's where I function from.
Yeah, I think Mo got it first.
I think that makes perfect sense though, because the best illustrations are going to tell you so much more than just the character that's in the center. It's lighting, telling you the time of day. It's weird figures, you know, in the background that are like, you know, making this scene feel populated.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so much more, you know, than just a character design.
Yes.
You know, yeah, and the best illustrations, you could immediately start telling a story just from that one image.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. There has to be that human kind of like you look at it and go, oh man, what was this person going through? You know, what would they think?
If you look at an illustration and start asking questions like, I want to know more.
Yes.
Then in my opinion, that's a successful illustration.
Yeah, that's a fantastic piece.
Yep.
So,
Hey, Woodrow, what's up? Happy Friday, my friend.
Man,
so, Frankie, you got... What's that?
I said
this hopping? Yeah, I mean, maybe the earlier time works a little bit. I don't know. It's, you know, it's probably just you. You're awesome.
Yeah.
You're the big draw.
Yep.
We're just kind of here to provide the little, you know, the window into the mind of Frankie B. But you've got 30 years of experience.
Say it again?
You've got 30 years doing this freelance gig.
Years.
But you've also worked mainstream. You did you did work for Marvel through Upper Deck. You did the trading card series for Transformers, and then you co-created the robot god Akamatsu back in 2013, right?
Yep.
Kaijus and Cowboys is your 27th foray into comic books?
Yeah,
or something like that. Something crazy.
Well, the funny part about it is that I'm really treating Kaijus and Cowboys as my it's almost like a redemption, because the thing about Robot Gods Akamatsu, I feel bad that when me and James did it, we approached it, and it's funny because I don't know if Pete's still here, but Pete talked about it, where I think many creators, we approach it from a standpoint where you're not thinking about business as well. We approached it from the fact of just creators. We just was like, man, I'm gonna create something, and James, me and James both worked in advertising. We both understand marketing, so we excel in that marketing, and he's in graphics and stuff like that, and storytelling. So we excelled in marketing the concept and selling people on the concept. And when it came down to the point of trying to produce the product, then, you know, we were able to produce that one volume, but then that's when hell struck.
Yeah,
we weren't able to follow through, and that was a hard lesson. I mean, we went to shows and people. We had Robot God Akamatsu actually became the mascot of like Rhode Island Comic Con the first year that it was here. I mean, we literally had posters. It was plastered all over the place. We built up this phenomenon, and people wanted more, and we couldn't give them any more. So it left me, and I'm sure it left James too, that little aftertaste in your mouth where you're kind of like, God dang! It was almost like you take people to this point, and the finish line is right, you know, right in the distance. Be like, come on. And so I'm feeling like Kaijus and Cowboys is that redemption song. You know, we already got it picked up. It's already been picked up by Second Sight Publishing for next year. So it's definitely 12 issues. So I got a lot of work. I got a lot of drawing to do. So it's definitely picked up. So we're going to get that done. And the Kickstarter just surprised us.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit about why Kickstarter. But before we get into that, I mean, we've been spending so much time just hanging out, talking to you, shooting the breeze, and it's great. We do have a campaign and a book to talk about, right?
Absolutely.
So. All right. Why don't we bring up Kaijus and Cowboys? Sure. It's actually about robot monster hunters settling on an alien planet, right? So, who are the characters? What are the obstacles they're going to face? What will they encounter? What are the stakes? And ultimately, I say this to a lot of people: why should I care?
Well, here's the thing. As a co-creator with it, the funny part is, I wish I could have had Matthew here because Matthew's the writer, and Matthew's only given me like an overview of what the ideas of what his ideas are, but we're still scoping out many of the character twerks in it. We're always shifting and changing on it, stuff like that. Pretty much the short form of it is that it's like you have this giant ship, it's in space, it's looking for a world for humanity. They land on this world that unfortunately is just covered with various kaijus of various sizes and stuff like that. They need these kaijus cleared out, so they send these hunters down to clear them out. Now, the quirky stuff, which Matthew's going to be adding in, is why are these specific hunter bots look the way they do? That's stuff that's going to come out during the story. We're going to explain why is he a Western? Why is a Western kind of town? Why is it, why are certain characters look the way they are? I can't tell every single thing because actually this book is only a 0 issue. So it's more of an introduction to the character. We're not going to be publishing this book anymore. So it is a Kickstarter exclusive, and that's it. And then once we start doing issue 1 into 12, then that's going to become the main story.
Oh, I get it. So the series got picked up, issues 1 through 12.
Yes.
The issue 0 is an exclusive for backers.
It's to wet the tongue.
Now I understand. That's really, really smart that you did it that way.
Man.
Real quick, actually, we had a good question. Is this going to be going to Indiegogo at all, or is this going to stay Kickstarter exclusive?
Well, again,
I think it was GJ Martinez that asked that. I do want to give credit where credit's due.
Well, Matthew's the one who actually went to the Kickstarter stage. I actually suggested,
Indiegogo.
Jeez, my brain.
I got you, bro.
I understand.
I actually suggested it, but he had already said he was going to stick with Kickstarter. So I said, hey, man, whatever. That's me. I was like, hey, go. And I said, my main job was, I said, look, I'm going to be there to help try to push the word about it, get it out there, show the artwork and stuff like that to try to make it successful. Who knows? All I can say is, who knows? I can't tell how the future is going to be. So maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, if it doesn't, the campaign doesn't necessarily go over, maybe you could run something, or maybe in some way offer a little taste to people about, with some of that kaiju and cowboy goodness.
Isn't that great? But isn't that fantastic now that we now have those options?
Yeah,
that we can do that. That's the cool thing.
I don't like the separation of the crowdfunding platforms. I mean, I understand that they're both different business models and they have different ways that they go about offering the campaigns, different interfaces, and there's lots of little differences to it. But when it comes to like backing stuff and being able to have a campaign here or there, I really wish that there was more cross-pollination, or at least people were able to offer campaigns in similar ways on the two platforms.
Right, so this way people can access both.
People who don't want to access one could access the other.
There are legitimate reasons, like, with how things
Absolutely
are filled
legitimate
and
reasons.
and stuff. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So it would be awesome if more people felt open or, thought about offering on both, so then people would be able to access the same stories, but on the platform that they prefer.
Yeah. And maybe if you don't bring the book, maybe you could run, I don't know, something for people. We'll see.
Well, also another thing too is that me and Matthew had a big discussion, and I was honest with him. I said, Matthew, hey man, I consider myself more of production. My main job is to focus on production of the product, to make it look good, and then also aid in with the marketing. I said, you get the handle, he gets to handle the side of what the crowdfunding and stuff like that. But it's also understanding what the jobs are. Because you also hear these stories, like I was talking to somebody and they was telling me how, which blows my mind, when I see a lot of these Kickstarters going on, and I'm not seeing the people who work in the production in it as well, pushing those campaigns a lot. Like in a way where it's like, yeah, that's a job too. Yeah. You have to be putting your work out there. These artists have to be doing that as well. you know? And so I was like, that's going to be my main job, you know? So we approached this from a point of like, what's going to be our strengths? What are we good at? I know that I'm good at...
Look at him there in the lower left-hand corner.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's so good. I love the way he draws robots, too. He's got that... He could do both. He could do, like, a more modern robot style, but he also can do, like, kind of the clunkier... old school robots with like boxier bodies and like the obvious screwed on limbs.
Yeah, I love that.
It's just I love that stylization of it, man. And someone was saying earlier, I think it was D.
Robots. We didn't even say.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, robots are my jam. I love robots. Giant monsters are cool. I'll give it up. You know, giant monsters are cool, but giant robots are where it's at. But I think D. Hausner said it earlier. He said, "I love art that I can zoom in on and appreciate little details like that." And I think your art really lends itself to doing that. There's something in every little nook and cranny to appreciate. And even on some of the stretch cards that sketch cards that I've seen, these tiny little packages, you managed to cram so much detail in there.
Can you guess what artist influenced me?
What artist influenced you? That's a question for you, my dude.
Who do you think influenced me by looking at my art? Oh, snap.
That's a tough question, man.
Woo! I went there with that.
You did. I've got no idea.
All right, why don't we say? I'll say John Byrne.
Okay.
Yep.
And then Herb Trimpe.
I don't know if I know Herb Trimpe.
Herb Trimpe did the Shogun Warriors and Godzilla for Marvel. Also, he did Incredible Hulk, and I knew him personally.
No kidding.
He did the Shogun. Right. So the robots with the... Yeah. Now I recall. Right. See, like you said, the names. Yeah. It's the names that don't always stick, but the book does. Yeah.
He is somebody who I call dad. Like, you know, I off and on, I would joke about it, but I told him how much he influenced. Like, seeing the Shogun Boys as a kid, it changed my life. And the thing about it is, I love that fun art. I love that kind of art where it's just fun. I mean, I suppose I could if I wanted to and get really dark and dank, but guess what? There's a lot of other people doing kaiju books that are very dark, more realistic, and such and such. I want to bring that kind of stuff that I read in the 80s. That sense of just fun, you know, dramatic scenes, over-the-top stuff. Oh, look at that Gamera. Oh, man.
Yeah, that Gamera, man. You had another Gamera sketch card. I got really jealous that someone else picked it up at the auction.
Well, that's
honestly, you know,
working for companies.
The face of your main protagonist actually totally reminds me of Jet Jaguar. I don't know if that's an intentional nod there. It was.
When I first started the character, when Matt mentioned him, he just said, "Hey Frank," he's like, "I got this idea, this cowboy." And my first thought, because I love westerns, was Clint Eastwood. I saw Clint Eastwood in my head, the man with no name. And then I thought I love Jet Jaguar's face. I thought it's so scary, that weird Gonage kind of like smiling at you kind of face. And then I said, I have dreadlocks. Then he's got to have dreadlocks.
I was going to say that the dreadlocks on the robot, man, that is so great.
Honestly, man, that's like my favorite way to build characters.
Yeah.
Is you take like two or three characters that you love that you want to evoke, and you take something there, you know, and then put it together, let it kind of just like percolate, and then suddenly something like that comes out of it.
And here's another quiz, too. How do you know it's a Frankie B original artwork with giant monsters? How do you know?
Bro, just look at it.
No, there's something. I always put something in my art, especially with giant monsters.
Aside from your signature?
Besides the signature?
Beside the signature.
Huh. All right, you're going to have to tell us.
I've mentioned it on shows, too. It's so funny. One of the things I try to tell people when you're drawing, for myself, because I was born in the Showa era, I tend to put helicopters in everything.
I was going to ask if it was helicopter, because I saw
there's one there.
Before, too.
It's up in this one. This creature on the left is
he doesn't have one, but he's crushing a building, so.
Yeah, and a lot of my stuff, you'll see helicopters. I didn't put that one.
Why helicopters?
Because in the early Showa era stuff with Godzilla, they used helicopters a lot.
Yeah, we grab them. Yep.
They give a sense of scale. Yeah. So they're using little toy helicopters, which is beautiful. It's a great way because
it's very smart.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have jets, but helicopters are much more. They can hover. They can do all kind of cool stuff.
That's very cool.
Yep. So now we know the trademark secret to know if it's a Frankie B, a real Frankie B, or someone else is trying to copy the style.
Show me the helicopter.
Yeah, right. Show me the helicopter.
If it was a helicopter, because I was gonna say
I'm
that.
gonna put your thing on the screen now, real quick.
Oh, do you have?
So, what do you think about our giant robot? We got a giant robot jumping out of a plane.
Well, when I remember seeing that, I could tell that you're heavily influenced. Like, you must have watched Gundam.
Yep.
Yeah, you must.
Absolutely, man.
It's funny because I've gotten in talks with people, and I go, and it's funny because I actually end up doing a ton of. I don't know. Have you ever seen my Gundam stuff?
Yeah, man. I've seen your Gundam stuff.
Well, what happened is, like, I try to tell people, look, I said I wasn't a hardcore fan of Gundam. I loved Robotech or Macross. But, you know, I just happen to love super robots. And I always felt that Gundam was more of the mech, military mech kind of stuff, which is not a problem. So, but I said it all works together. You know, with Gundam, Mazinga Z, they all work. Everything works together to help all of us. So when I saw your work, I said, yeah, this is definitely just straight out mech stuff, which is great.
Yeah.
I want to see, this makes me so excited because I want to see different variations of stuff. I don't want to see people just drawing giant robo-looking stuff or whatever. I want to see this. I want to see this. I want to look at stuff that I'm doing. I want to see stuff that Territory's doing. I want to see all.
Do you remember like GoBots and Microbots and stuff?
Yes.
Like, I would love to see some robots get real small too. Just go in the opposite direction of like being super big, larger than life, and you know, fighting like super terrestrial threats. I would love to see like nanobots, and I would love to see them across the spectrum. Just machines and embracing that type of art, because a lot of people are great with organics. You know, they're great with flesh tones, musculature. People are really great with facial expressions, but you can't always evoke emotion out of something that's steel with right angles and hard edges. You know?
Do you know that when I went to cons, that's how I killed? I did. It was funny because I remember sitting down once at a con and I looked around and I saw a dozen people drawing Batman, more dozen people drawing Wonder Woman. I saw all this stuff, and then finally, I looked at my. Well, at the time, she was my girlfriend, my new girlfriend, Jess, and now my wife. And I looked at her and I said, "Hun, I don't see anybody drawing Godzilla. I don't see anyone drawing Voltron or any of that stuff." I said, "I'm gonna do that." And as soon as I started doing stuff like that, prints and stuff, people started coming. They were just like, "Oh my God," coming by, because I was drawing stuff that set me apart from everyone else. People don't like to draw robots. There's only a few people that can sit there and draw Transformers or, you know, Voltron, which I mentioned before. I did a piece in Voltron the Lion Voltron. What a nightmare. He's a nightmare. I have a love-hate relationship with that robot.
I'll bet.
But I feel good when I do it. When I achieve it, I go, yay!
Yeah, right?
This of it, I'm like, I hate this friggin'.
It's great when you can curse about something and still love it, because it's, you know, it presents a challenge like that, and it's the love-hate relationship. I feel that with Garrett all the time. You know, I wouldn't trade it for anything, you know. So we talked a little bit about Kaijus and Cowboys. Yep. Why don't we take a look at the campaign real quick? Frequency Girl, you want to roll the trailer? Yeah, they got a trailer. You want to roll the trailer and load the campaign page?
Matthew did this, by the way.
Yeah, that's a big accomplishment. We're working on our animated trailer. It's not easy. Red Gaze makes it look easy. You know, there are people out there that make this trailer game look easy, but scrolling, getting the right angles on it, the right shots, even stuff that's not moving.
Honestly, just trying to figure out the
storyboarding for it.
Step one.
Yeah.
Step one on putting together animation is a whole different game than, you know, any other kind of art form. It's weird.
We kind of do thumbnailing a little bit, right? But you're right. You have to come up with like what you want it to say. Anyway, let's check out this trailer.
Okay. I couldn't download it, so I'm playing.
No, you're playing off the website. That's fine. You're slacker.
I'm a punch you.
Let's mute. Oh wait, I can't mute. Did you add sound?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, it's mute. Nope.
The lone hunter walked through the ruins of the settlement town and surveyed the damage. He knew it was too late for them. All that was left was the one job he was designed for: what he was built for, what he was programmed for.
Oh.
Hey everyone, my name's Matt. I'm the author of Kaijus Cowboys.
Oh. Hey guys, I'm Frankie B, the artist on Kaijus and Cowboys.
Thank you so much for your interest in this awesome project of ours.
We're both huge fans of the giant robot / monster genre and wanted to create the coolest, most action-packed comic that we could think of.
The artwork for the comic book and all the big rewards is already done, and all we need is your support to help pay for printing and shipping.
So thank you for your time and support in this campaign, helping us to keep the creativity strong and the art flowing. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, man, keep that art flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, my wife was laughing because it's like I was literally reading from a script. And it was
I know that feeling. Early on, we were trying to do shows, and we were trying to collect our thoughts and simultaneously be authentic, but also maintain some semblance of scripting. And it is hard, and editing is rough when you're doing that. So ever since then, we just kind of threw out the script. So we hit. Oh, you're looking at ours. Is this
like,
our? Yeah, because we backed the 75 tiers, so you actually loaded our Kickstarter. Good job.
Well, I'm logged in. I didn't log out.
What's your favorite tier on this campaign?
Well, I'm surprised that no one's not going for like the original artwork from the comic. I wish I'm going to be doing some sketch card art, so that's good. So I mean, the sketch card. I'll say the sketch card art. You're going to get some artwork, but as a person who's a collector, I know he's like I'm subdued. Damn.
You do. You look a little, relaxed there, and composed. You're far more animated in person.
No, I'm just a big I'm a big fan of like original artwork. So I'm always surprised when people don't go for that. I'm like, man, it's like I don't know. I'm just in the belief that you don't know where a person's going to be. Like I have artwork from artists that years later end up working for DC and whatever. So I'm just a big believer in that. If you get artwork now from somebody, and you hold on to it, you never know where that's going to be in a couple of years down the line. And just to even own, like, just to have it, just to be like, oh yeah, I got this artwork from this particular artist.
So I see it says first come, first serve. Does that mean you can have your pick of whatever page you want?
Sure. At this point,
Awesome.
You can be like, oh, I want page whatever.
Load up the second Kickstarter account.
Yeah.
So that's the problem that I have with Kickstarter. I can only back once, and I needed the drawn-in little character design that you're doing with the tiny little biography and working to create. I mean, like I saw that, I was like, I love the drawn-in tiers. I love the become part of the experience this time, and that just it floors me, the idea of getting to become part of someone else's creation like that. But because it's Kickstarter, you can only back one thing per account, so we do have a second account for Kickstarter.
Here's the thing that's been going in the back of my mind. I often wonder, between doing these campaigns, how much importance is put on trying to do the campaign as compared to the production. Like a movie, when a movie's doing a production, when they're doing a film, there's a lot of energy that's needed to make this thing happen, so then they can put something out for people to go see, right? How much of that energy of production to make sure you got a quality product and that you said you're going to get it on a certain time, as compared to the point of just trying to focus on a sense of marketing and pushing that campaign?
So I don't know how artists / writers do it. The one dude, the full package, the complete
I don't
talent.
know either. No.
I don't know how they do it.
I wouldn't touch that.
We got a 3-person team. And Frequency Girl is the project manager, so she kind of keeps everyone on task, maintains the schedule, reminds us of our deadlines when we have to have certain pieces done, when other artists have to meet deadlines for us to be able to include things in promotional material and stuff like that. I'm the writer, so I wrote a script, and we've gone through editing for it, and then Garrett's the artist, so I'm pretty much done with writing when I'm done with writing. He's got all the work on his plate doing the drawing. So that means while he's doing all the drawing and putting out that quality work like you were talking about, the production side, I'm on the marketing side. I'm on the hustle, the grind. I'm going on the shows. I'm hosting things like this. Right now, as you can see, you know, he's doing his thing. He's drawing our book while we're talking.
Yeah. Like, well, that is funny. I keep telling people, I'm like, once this campaign's over, then I got work ahead of me. We both do. Like, we're going to have to be working out these stories and get them. I mean, we can't, now that we've got picked up, this is like, it's got to get done. And I'm one of those people where I'm dedicated. I'm not about messing around and whatever and such and such. I want to get the job done. I want it to be the best that it can be. So, are
you going to be on the alternate auction tomorrow?
Unfortunately, not this time. Not this time around.
I saw you last time. Boo, Frankie! You got to get on that. You got to get on that auction circuit again. I need some more Frankie B. Washington.
See, again, look at this. Brings it right back to it. There's that time where I sit there and I go,
"Yep, I hear you."
Illustrator, I have to be on the art.
Yep, you have to be in the art flow.
It's like art has to get done. I'm not like back in the days when I would stay up to like 3 a.m., 1 a.m. You know, you don't get sleep. Your art starts to suffer and stuff. There has to be a balance. And I want people to understand that. You got to have a balance in your life. Don't kill yourself over this. We want you to be around. You know, I don't want to see people dropping because they're just like, oh, I got to keep doing this. And they're going nuts and crazy. I'm seeing people cancel out. They're just like, I can't do this anymore. You're seeing people dropping out even before they started.
Yeah, I mean, they burn out too. Yeah, that's the thing.
They're hitting the thing. They're chiming themselves in already. I'm like, you got to find that balance. And that balance is you got to know when you got to step away from something. It's going to be there. It's going to be there. There's going to be another auction. That's going to make people want to see me the next time.
Yeah, that's right. Eric says you're building anticipation. For those of you...
I heard that from Alex Ross. Look at Alex Ross. Alex Ross barely goes to any cons. And people are there trying to... He sends his own people to finish up his artwork. How cool
is that? That's the dream. You know, that's the dream, to be able to just be in the art flow and deploy your agents elsewhere to like do the marketing promotion and to sell the product.
I'm more Todd McFarlane.
I mean, I love the idea of interfacing with fans at some point, because I hope people like what I write, and I hope people like what Garrett draws, and I hope that we do develop a small group of loyal followers that I can like offer things to and be like, hey, you like what we do, so we're gonna do more stuff for you. But check out Pete Cimetti's art auction on his channel.
A ton of people
definitely.
I mean, I'm okay with small to start. Frequency Girl dropped that link.
Well, I dropped the link to his
Pete's
page.
channel, so that people can go check out Pete's channel and tune into the art auction.
There's some amazing artists out there.
Are you going to be on the Red Valkyrie art auction on June 19th?
June 19th? I didn't even know. I didn't even hear about it.
Oh, bro. Let me put you in touch, because I think that was the first art auction that I got your stuff on. That was their art auction. I think they're doing another one June 19th. Let's reach out to them and see if you want to have something ready for that.
Back to back to back. Look at this, man.
They love it. I mean, I love it. I love the fact that people are engaged in this community. Everyone loves art. They love the books. They're real fans. These people aren't just ideologues that are preaching, some weird philosophy. They're into the comic books, and they're into the art, and they're into the community. And that's why I just love being a part of this. So you never answered. No, you did answer. You said the original artwork tier, derp. Who's this book for? Who's the audience?
Well, see, that's so funny, because when I think about as a kid, when I was reading comic books, there was never like kid friendly. I that's such a new concept to me, because it was like I was reading Conan, Punisher, all kind of stuff. So I don't know. I think honestly it's for everyone. I clearly a child that's like 5 years old. I don't know if they would get much from it, but I don't believe in just doing gore and that kind of just to be ballistic or anything like that. It would be like, I don't know, what's teen and up? Did that sound good?
Teen and up?
Dude, I agree with you though. I was reading heavy metal when I think most people would say it's way too young, right? But I was like, I was probably 9 or 10.
Yeah, that is young for heavy metal.
I see that all over the place, and I'm like, but I was reading like, man, Punisher, Ghost Rider. I was reading Ghost Rider, man, back when I was like maybe 11, 10, and they didn't say child friendly on that. reading about
That's
Zarathos.
true. I mean, we got different audiences today than we did back then. You know, like we have different sensibilities within the age ranges also. So there's like some violence in this book, some death, that kind of thing. So it's not really YA, but it is more like, you know, late teens and up. 16, 17, 18 in there. You don't want like, you know, 13-year-olds reading this book. I don't know. Maybe you do.
I don't know. Do any 13-year-olds watch Primal?
I mean, yeah, they did. It's a cartoon, so
It's a cartoon, and it was pretty violent.
right. I guess it's a marketable comic then. Yeah.
I think it's a level of violence dealing with storytelling. So again, I don't know. That's such a weird. When I hear people say stuff like that, I'm like, I don't know, man. I think that 13-year-olds. I understand if you show someone's head
Getting lopped off and rolling across the floor.
That's a whole different thing, especially if they look human. But I think when you deal with robots, like we're watching, we just caught up on Star Wars Rebels, and we're just now watching The Bad Batch. We're seeing and then we finished the Clone Wars. I saw robots getting blown apart.
Yeah.
What was that? Who was watching that? Was that, I don't know, maybe a 10-year-old?
Well, I guess they get away with it because it's robots, which I feel is robot discrimination. But you know,
boom, there you go, mic drop. There you go. We got robots. We're just robots getting blown apart.
Exactly, like you know, robots rights now.
Whoever that audience is that's watching Clone Wars,
yep,
or Bad Batch, that's our audience.
Hey man, so it is YA then. Like you can appeal to like a broader spectrum of people that way, and a broader age range. And of course, it's for sci-fi fans and people who enjoy monsters and giant robots. But it's also for people who are just fans of comic books and the action genre, right? Because it's almost a Western romp as well. That's the idea behind.
It's an homage to the 80s comics, 70s and 80s comics that I grew up with. This is talking about when comic books were about the fact of fun, escapism. You know, we all got hard things going on in our lives, bills, mortgage, whatever it is, rent. And the thing about it is we need escapism.
Yeah, we do.
I'm not trying to draw stuff to look like the real world or anything like that. That's just not the kind of storyteller I am. You know, I'm wanting stuff where you go into this world. I want you to feel transported. I want you to enter into it and become part of it as you're reading it. That's what I remembered. That's why I picked up the Shogun Warriors. When I read the Shogun Warriors as a kid, I was transported in that world. It was exciting. It was fun.
Right. And you want to live in that world with all the perils therein too. You know, you can't sugarcoat and cushion these things because people get exposed to stuff in life. So you want to make an authentic experience, but a fantastical, you know, exciting experience too. But like you said, there are boundaries to which you're going to show stuff.
Yeah, I knew in my mind as a child that there was no way a giant robot's going to be hanging out my window. That's all I'm saying. But
fair enough.
It was cool reading about it. It was like, yeah, Ghost Rider. I'm not going to see some dude with a flaming skull running down the street, you know, on a motorcycle, but it was cool. It was cool escapism. Like, yeah,
it was. And that's the thing. Like you said, we need more escapism. We have to stop conflating these things with real life and embrace it for the fact that, one, it's art. And art's about expression and freedom. Yes. And two, it's about entertainment, which is about enjoying something that isn't real. So people stop putting real life into this stuff. Anyway, I could go off on that, but I'm not gonna. Do you enjoy crowdfunding? Is this your first? It's not your first experience with crowdfunding, right?
It's my first time being on this side of it. But most times, anytime I did it, it was more like I was an artist invited on. Like they're like, hey, you want to make a few bucks? Here, we want to bring you on as an artist. And in which case, the stuff that I did sold. You know, it helped the campaign, so that made me feel really good. But yeah, I mean, I was more on the artist side. Like someone called, hey Frank, you know, hey, we want to do a reward tier. You know, would you want to do some artwork? I'm like, sure, hey man, right on.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing that people should consider doing. Getting some Frankie B. Washington on your campaign to increase your exposure and visibility and the excitement people have for the campaign that you're running. It's probably a really good idea to hire Frankie B. Washington to do some sketch cards for you. I don't know anything about that.
One of the things about me is I never stop. When I lived in Boston, I love talking to any and everybody. I'm a true, like, I'll sit there and I'll talk with you, man. You know, I may not agree with everything you say, but that's cool. We're still human beings and stuff. I respect you. You show me respect, I'll show you respect. That's it. It's simple.
Simple, yeah, exactly. It's
it's like anyone can do the BS. We can sit there all day and we can BS all day. You know how it is, man. We could be sitting there just saying stuff and whatever, but after a while, that gets tired. You know, I can just be talking to you real and be like, hey, look, man, this is where I come from. And you say, hey, Frank, this is where I come from. And then, all right, man, that's cool. And we can rap. And that's what I'm talking about. And so I think that's what people kind of like. Anything I've heard from people, they love the fact that I'm just that person who just comes in.
Authentic.
Yeah. Authentic. Yeah.
So what's the hardest obstacle that you've encountered trying to crowdfund this project, and how have you overcome it?
It's surprisingly none.
Oh, snap!
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is coming from a standpoint of that I've already have had like a couple of years building up who I am as a brand. So I would tell anybody out there that's trying to do crowdfunding, you need to start building up who you are as a brand. And this is a team effort thing. This isn't just like again, Matthew, if anything, Matthew is coming from a standpoint where no one knows who he is. So he was like, okay, Frank, he ended up buying some sponsoring. He ended up getting a PR person, and that was cool. But people know me just because of the things I've done. Like I've done some stuff with Pete, and I've drawn, and some of the videos I have on my YouTube channel and stuff like that. So that helps a lot. You have to have something where people say, okay, we know this person, we want to see what they're doing, and now we're going to get into it. That helps, and I don't even push away from that. I tell anyone, if you're going to do a crowdfunding, you need this first. I would suggest maybe give yourself maybe 2 months before you even start up, maybe even 3 months before, and just start building up who you are.
Yeah, it's a good idea if you're going to be crowdfunding something, put up a pre-launch page, maybe 6 months before you start crowdfunding, start a YouTube channel, get out there on social media, start networking with people, talk to people, maybe start a show, have other creators come on, talk about their projects, get to know them, get to know the other people out there doing stuff, talk to some of the names out there, people that get excited about your things. That's the way to go about doing it.
Back in the 80s and 90s, what did we call that when we didn't have computers? You called it guerrilla marketing. There were cats out there putting stuff. I remember they put Andre the Giant stickers on mailboxes.
Yep, I actually have that shirt.
Yeah, remember that?
Obey. Yep.
These dudes were putting on, and people were like, what is this all about? And they kept doing it, and they didn't say nothing. That was guerrilla marketing gold.
Yeah.
Yep. Now you can do QR codes and stickers still. Slap them around on billboards and.
Why do you think companies, big corporations, pay billions of dollars to ad agencies to do their marketing? I don't have $1 billion. You don't have $1 billion. No. But if you're smart enough, let me take that back. You're not smart. I would just say more witty, creative enough. I want to be nice. It's because it's not even about intellect. It's about the fact of just taking the time and looking at
resourceful. If you're resourceful enough,
resourceful, strategic, and you really sit down and you really look at it, you can do guerrilla marketing on a shoestring budget. It doesn't have to cost that much. You don't have to go broke, but you gotta go about it. But be consistent. Get online, talk. If you're gonna talk with people, talk about your art. Talk about what this project may be down the line. Don't just bring the project up, but just be like, hey, this is my artwork and this is my thing. And then eventually when the time comes, bingo, bango, then you can hit people with the main,
Yeah, do you have a small loan of $1 million to start your empire? I wish, right?
The things I could do.
So what's the hardest part then about making comic books? Don't tell me nothing.
Oh, there's everything. I think, again, if you're talking from production, again, it's all about you have to look at it as a serious project. You can't look at this. I mean, we all can joke and laugh, but when I did creator, trying to do my own books I'm saying way before the internet and all that stuff, it was about trying to raise the funds and then going out there to try to go to shows and trying to just get your books into the hands of different people. That hasn't gone away. The thing about it is that you got to get out there and hustle. You got to hustle hard. I mean, you got to somehow tell people about what you're doing and try to, bring them into this world that you're hoping to sell to them. This is about selling. It's about producing and then selling. And I mean, that's as simple as that. I don't know how else you can make that any spicier or whatever. It's just, that's how it is. That's what
and to do that, you got to get on the grind, get in the art flow, make
grind.
something.
You're right.
Yeah,
that's it. The grind. It is a grind. It
can be. You make it look easy though. You do. Yeah. You make it look easy. You make it look fun. You always look like you're having fun making art and having a good time. You got a smile on your face. You're always enthusiastic when you are on video. I mean, most of the shorts that I see from you are on Twitter.
Who needs to be miserable? That's the thing. Who needs to be miserable? We all got. I believe everyone has stories. I can sit here and tell you about some hard stories of my life. and it's miserable and whatever, and my angst, who wants to hear that? Let's be honest, man. Come on, let's really be honest. You start sitting, immediately you want to draw it because I'm sitting there going, well, why is this cat up here talking about how hard their life is, and what about my life? What about the time we didn't have heat in our house?
Right.
We didn't have water in our house. Come on. So why don't you just talk about your book? Talk about the joys of it, creating, whatever. Get people excited about that. There's so much misery out there, man. So much down. Let's talk about the good stuff, man. That's all I want to hear.
On that note, why don't you tell me the best part of making comics?
Oh, the creating.
Yeah.
Something for me, the joy I get is that literally just like, again, Matthew is very broad in how he writes. Like his approach is more like he'll say, well, Frank, again, he said, hey, Frank, here's this cowboy guy is a robot. That was him. And then immediately I went to concepting. I usually do character sheets, and I always tell people out there, if you're going to hire an artist for your comic book, make sure that you take care of character sheets. You need to get drawings of your characters. I prefer sometimes
character studies.
Just to get a feeling of who these characters are. I prefer a front, back, side if you can, if you got it. But just really to get a sense of who these characters are and stuff. I love that. I love it. Even before even touching, I love thumbnails too. I love doing the little thumbnails and stuff like that. But just the fact of concepting up characters and trying to build what they are about and seeing little changes and talking about. Oh, I love that stuff. That to me is gold.
Yep, absolutely. I could not agree more. Like designing a character, having a character sheet, something like as a writer, I love it too because I could just stare at it and think about what that character is going to be like. I animate it in my head. Like I can see gesticulations and the pose that they're put in by the artist, like how they're leaning or standing, straight, or have their hands in their pockets, or like are their arms crossed, something like that. Like it all conveys the psychology and the personality of the character. So I think it's very helpful to have that.
I don't even think people understand how. Like I'm looking at that scene right there, and just getting that sense of weight and how the ship's flying up there, and that sense of power and stuff like that's just beautiful, man. I love it.
Yeah, Garrett's done something incredible, long way both on the art and on the script. When we started,
I love the leg plating. I like that leg plating you got there. Is that leg plating?
Yeah,
dude, nice.
It's that like skirt that he's talking about. The big.
Oh,
yeah. Is that a skirt or the leg? It looks like leg. Is that leg plating?
Yeah, the big heavy plates on the legs.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's nice. And I like the thread. The threads, the nice threads on it. You see, that's what that level of detail in there. That's
zoom out and show them the big one. The one at the bottom. Yeah, the one that we used at the campaign
look at that.
Ad. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, I love the sound effect. When we started adding in and drawing in the sound effects, I think it really punched up the art significantly. Originally, when we conceived of this, like I hadn't drawn or written in any sound effects into the script. And so when we started like looking at it, we were like, maybe we do need some sound effects.
Absolutely.
Maybe one or two, and then one or two turned into 3 or 4, and then Garrett's just been going through and like right up there, patwang. That wasn't written in. That's just something he thinks it sounds like. So there it is.
Fan of Appleseed. I can see.
Yes, in there. I'm a huge fan of Appleseed.
Yeah, that's
and Bubblegum Crisis too. Like, man, you're gonna out me as a weeb on my own channel. Stop.
They already know.
That's what I mean about art. That's what I mean. Like I can look at that and I can go, "Yep, I see Appleseed." Pat Labor. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but yeah, I saw a lot of that stuff. I watched that stuff, man. How could you not? That's what kills me is when I hear sometimes creatives and they're like, "Oh, I only watch a certain thing." Like I remember I got in a conversation with this kid. He's a kid, and he was talking about Evangelion and stuff, and I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, Evangelion's like the greatest thing, man. It just came out in 2000. I was like, I said, that's cool and everything, and I'm not throwing shade on it, but do you know that there was other stuff before that? And he was like, huh? And then I said, hey, man, you need to check out this and maybe some of these things, so then you get a sense of where that influenced Evangelion, just to open yourself up. And they just were like, I don't want to hear that. So I said, hey, I don't know what to tell you.
Dude, I hear that completely. I think, anybody working in the creative field, you need to widen your diet. You need to search out all kinds of sources for creativity.
Looking at modern comics, it's a mixture now, right? You talk about it all the time.
I think any kind of creative, it's not just art field, right? Like musicians listen to different genres than the music they create.
Yes.
You know, artists should be looking at different genres than what they write. You should be looking at, painters.
You want to get a good sense of storyboards?
Yeah.
Panels, storyboards. Watch the Twilight Zone.
No kid. Yeah. Absolutely.
Watch old school black and white stuff, because back then they couldn't cheat anything. They didn't have the level of technology, CGI. They just had straight out acting, and then the props and everything. Sit down and watch the Twilight. Really examine and look at how to use the angles, the camera turning around and stuff like that. That's a lesson.
And honestly, in terms of like black and white stuff, like whether you like it or not, manga does some of the best black and white layout. Right? They really utilize the value scale in a way that makes a page and a panel readable. Some people don't like necessarily think about the values and how muddy it can get if you're using colors. Yeah. Like suddenly you're losing track of what's going on because you're not thinking about your like fundamentals of your value scale. But if you look at things that use that well, it's going to translate into your art when you rely on that,
Yeah, absolutely. And modern comics, they borrow so much from other genres.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to grab some stuff because you were talking. I actually am reading Ultraman too, the new Ultraman.
Oh yeah, man! I saw you have some really great Ultraman stuff.
Yeah, but this is Ultraman though. Here's another thing too. This is how to show you how hardcore I am. Yeah. I cannot speak Japanese, but I bought Japanese stuff. This is Giant Robo.
Yeah.
So it's like
we may need to grab that just to
but
look at the design for a certain someone.
If you're an artist, you don't necessarily need the words, right? You need to like see how the scene is unfolding.
I'm telling people out there, you got to read.
That's the Frequency Girl. Order it. You ordered it, all right?
Yeah. But that's what I mean. It's like I don't even without the language understand the language. That's how I originally got into anime. I used to go to an anime club and watch the old school VHS, dude. And we would just sit there, and they would give us scripts. They would give
once again, rest in peace, Kentaro Miura. But when I first saw Berserk, it was off VHS's ripped with fan subs and stuff like that. And when the first anime ended, I was like, "What the?" Because it ends on the worst cliffhanger. Yeah. And for years, I thought that was it.
The Egg of the King cycle, right?
And it wasn't until like way later that I found out that there were, there was a manga, and we could download it off whatever pirate sites.
Skull Knight comes and pulls him out, and then there's a whole story after that. It's one heck of a culture shock to be like, wait, this is the end? How do you end a story like that? It's just everything goes wrong and horrible, and he loses an arm and an eye, and the end. Great. It's amazing. Whatever. But at the same time, I was like, what a phenomenal idea to be able to take something and not give it a sense of closure. And it irritated me and it aggravated me because they didn't do it. And all I was doing was thinking about it more, and it was like they knew what they were doing.
I love this. Look at the emotional, like you're into it.
Exactly.
That's amazing. That right there, that's what as an indie comic book scene right now, we need this.
Yeah.
We need to get this kind of like when people talk about it, because that's how I felt. Like when I remember when like reading New Mutants when it first came out and stuff. I was all excited. I was like, God, this is amazing. Bob McCloud's out. Oh my God. I was like, you lose your mind. That's what I want. I know we're going to be seeing this in the indie. There's a renaissance going on right now in the indie comic book market industry right now. And it's happening. And
true.
No, I love that.
Especially like definitely in indie and in crowdfunding too. I've seen more comic book crowdfunders just this year and last year than I have ever before. They keep popping up, and the quality.
And they're exciting.
Yeah, they're exciting. The subject matter's interesting. It's borrowing from all different places. I mean, superheroes are great. Don't get me wrong, but we have stuff from all over now. We had werewolves. We got pirates. We got.
But do you
monsters.
notice something? But do you notice something? The ones that are succeeding is the ones who are following that practice. Like they're sitting down. They've gotten past the fan mentality, or just like they understand that this is a business, and they're looking at it in a more serious context where they're just like, okay, we can't just talk about what the big guys are doing or whatever. We got to do it ourselves. We got to follow those fundamentals. That means production, marketing, and then making sure you get those books out to your to the people that have purchased them. Period.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Bristolian Dave says, I'm so grateful for finding indie comics. It's inspired me to write my own stories. That's fantastic, because Bristolian Dave, if you guys didn't know, has an amazing collection of physical media. I mean, like volumes and libraries that are absolutely insane.
Wow.
Mostly, I've seen him document like DVDs and old works of cinema and television. But I'm hearing he's cultivating a larger library of print media as well. And so for him to have collected enough physical media through crowdfunding to inspire him to write his own stories, I mean, that's significant. I got to say, that's great.
We're,
All right,
like
so
we're in a good time.
Do you have any words of wisdom in your 30 years of experience or advice to people getting into comics and crowdfunding besides what you've already said, you know, the art flow, treating it like a business, making sure that you've got good practices and habits, you're living healthy. Other than all of that, is there anything else?
All I can say is, again, I have fun. I love shooting mess with people and stuff like that. But I treat this serious. When I got into the art industry, this was my career. It wasn't a joke. Like that was the one thing my teachers taught me. If you can't look at this as a joke. This is a career. Just like a plumber, just like a mechanic, just like a carpenter, anything out there. Being a commercial illustrator and out here in the industry, this is a serious thing. I just want to see more people approach it. You know, you can have fun with your friends and whatever when the downtime. But when you're going to talk about doing these books and getting them out there, and when you're taking people's money, when you're taking their money that they're paying into it, be serious about it, because this is business. Yep. And the thing is that you got to make sure that you put out what you said. This can't be bells and whistles. Bells and whistles are great. I had one of my old school mentors once told me, he said, Frank, it's about the bells and whistles. He was a wealthy guy. He was in real estate. But also he was like, but then it comes that point where when you pass the bells and whistles, people are going to start looking for something then. You can dance it up. You can make it look all nice and shiny and everything like that. But then they're going to be like, well, are you going to give it to us? And so I'm saying just stick, you know, I'm saying for the people that are really into it, you really want to make this happen, I believe you can do it. But the thing is, just treat it serious. You can have the fun time. Once you've succeeded and once you've done it and whatever, then party. I'm like, have a party with your friends, whatever you're going to do to get your joy out and whatever, and then prepare to get back to work.
Get your priorities straight. If comics are a priority, if making is a priority, treat it as such.
I've been working since I was age 12. Age 12, hardcore worker, man. Yep. And I believe in that. I partied hard, but I knew when to work. And I think sometimes people party too much. My mom always said, she said, look, you can do all your plan after you get your work done.
Yep.
You know, but you got to get the work done. Get the work done. Then you can feel good. Then you can sit back and you can be like, well, I did this. Boom. I like when people do that. When they finish something, they say, I did this. Look what I did. You don't even have to say anything. You just go like this. Put your chest out and be like, boom. There it is. It's right there. But you can't say that if you don't have nothing. You just can't.
Absolutely.
You can't say nothing. All you can do is just sit there with your head down like, oh, well, it's coming. It's coming.
I love it though, because there's such an anticipation of having the cats in the bag. You know what I mean? Like we talk about Frequency Girl herding cats. Yeah. There's a lot of cats in that bag, man. And I can't wait to huck my felines at all of y'all and see what happens.
Everybody wants to be like Stan Lee. Everybody wants to be like all these greats. But again, think about it. Think in your head. How many years did it take them to get to that place? Mm-hmm. Think about the years, people. Like sometimes I listen to Pete when he's talking, and I swear sometimes I don't think people really hear. Like when Pete will be like, "Yeah, alternative comics been around for 10 to 15, 10 to 12 years." I don't think people hear that. All they see is what they're doing now.
Yep.
Just like me.
There was a lot of growing pains there.
I'll sit here and I'll say, "Yeah, it took me 30 years. I draw every single day." But that gets mixed. That gets lost with me drawing pretty Godzilla pictures. It's like, wow, this dude can draw. But I'm like, no. But you gotta understand that I've been doing this for 30 years, pretty much, right, off and on, and I still draw every single day. So 30 years. I had a teacher once told me, he said, to be a great artist, he said, Frank, to be a really great artist, you're looking at maybe 10 to 20 years. With a straight face. Yeah. And so
do stuff.
Yeah, when I was in my 20s, I didn't want to hear that. Which one of you wants to hear that? You're like sitting there.
Right, like, no, I'm great now.
What mid 30-year-old wants to hear that? You'll be great when you're 50.
Like 10 or 20 years. What are you talking about? I ain't hearing that stuff. Go out here all pumped out chest. Hell yeah. Yeah, but
you gotta take the wins and the L's and make it part of the experience so that you grow as a creator. Absolutely agree. Jake Twister says, thought it was 1 p.m., but check the time now. We're during early hours. It's 2:39, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
We started.
I know, man. What's going on? This is late for me, man. Jake Twister.
So that's pretty much it. I'm sorry, Jake. You walked in on like the last 5 minutes of the stream, literally.
Glad to have you in, though, man.
Very glad to have you. Yeah.
It's a replay. Click.
Yeah, right. Hit the replay. Go check out all the stuff you missed.
Hey, I do.
Mo Biggs, Frankie outed me as a weeb on my stream, and Mo Biggs is not taking kindly to it.
Everybody already knew.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm an old man. What I do not know, half the words that I hear, what does that mean? Weeb? What did you say?
It's a pejorative term for fans of manga and anime and Japanese style entertainment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's nothing that bad. It comes from weeaboo.
Yeah, it's
another word for otaku, and honestly, like, people throw it around like it's a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. There are people out there who are proud weeaboos, and it's totally a fine.
Oh, absolutely. You young people, you say
Mo is gonna time us out on our own channel.
Good.
Man,
he's gonna kick us from our own stream. All right, so Frankie, you got a YouTube channel, by the way. I don't know if anyone else knows this. It's been around for 6 years, and you make videos pretty much on the reg.
Well, actually, here's the funny thing: I started actually doing videos last year. I had for years people were like, "Yo, Frankie, you should do videos." I was like, I don't know, and then finally I just did it, and it's just become this big thing now. I just sort of and really honestly, I tell people I treat it as my portfolio. It's just a portfolio. It's just me rambling. Few little words and then just drawing art. So go on by, check it out. Let me know, comment, whatever.
Right on.
It's in the description, but I'm also throwing it in the chat.
Right. So where can people find you? We kind of hunted down your social media links, threw it in the description of the video. But where's the best place to find you, to reach out and find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Would probably be the 3 places I would think most people will probably find me.
Awesome.
They want to see violence. They want violence on this stream.
He can't hurt his artists, but I kind of agree.
So Mo Biggs.
Mo Biggs said I need to redeem myself by hitting Garrett for defending weebs, and Amanda said I can't hurt my artist even though she kind of agrees. Yeah, I'm not going to strike down my artist. Not only is Garrett my friend and my artist.
Oh, I'm right.
It's fair.
Man, I'm learning a bunch of stuff here, man.
So Jake is schooling us too. So if you're a weebo, you're an ignorant manga anime fan. Otakus are the cultured swines.
Wow, that's hot.
All right.
And then there's the old takus that are too old for the shit. Why do I feel like that's me?
We're getting on in age, We are not going to look as good as Frankie when we're his age.
No,
he's figured out the secret to youth. It's called.
I know the animes that I like, man. I know.
Absolutely, man. Honestly, like the things you like. Be proud of it, and don't apologize for enjoying things that make you happy.
I want tacos too.
I'm all about that. Yeah, let's go get some tacos.
I also want to say thank you to Amanda B, because she's my girl and she has my back. I saw her
at all times.
Reminding me that I can walk out on you for calling me a slacker.
You can. So. You can also end the stream at any time you want.
Yeah, like Frankie B's
You have your finger on the button. You can kick me from my own. I don't have to be here. Neff had to go.
Go get tacos.
All right. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us, Frankie B. We're going to have you back on.
Yeah, we had such a wonderful time.
We'll find some excuse. I'm not sure what it'll be, but we'll have you back because this was a lot of fun. This is probably I
got my drawing desk set up, so I'm going to do some physical stuff. So maybe we'll sometime do a draw stream or something.
Here's a suggestion. Why not a draw stream?
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
We should do a draw stream. We should do like an hour of some kind of crazy prompt, like something inspired from The Thing or something, or
yes,
or
like
Aliens
classical
or
monsters.
something. Yeah,
that'd be dope. And we could get a couple of people together and make a thing out of it. All right. Ideas for another day. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications,
and tune into The Frequency.
We'll see you next time.
Peace out.
Take care.
Us.